I'm here to work on my Hyundai Atos today. So anyway, I'm working on this Atos, 2001 Hyundai Atos, and I just wanted to get it running a little bit better without putting more money into it right now, because if the Germans don't think it's good enough to be on the road, why buy more parts? I fixed the oil leaks, but today it's spark plugs. I'm just going to get them gapped the same, and hopefully that'll create a little more stability for this poor little engine that can. Additionally, I'm going to take a close look at the spark plugs and read if there's something funny going on. It's my little practical car to run around while I'm here in Germany, and I just want to say that it's a fun little car. I know this moment watching this anime where this woman pushes this tiny little car up and down a mountain, just pushes it so hard, and you see it turning really hard and turn really hard, and it makes this mountainside hill look really exciting as she drives her son home from school. That's exactly how fun this car feels. Okay? Because it sort of tips a little bit when you're turning, because it's kind of tall for a small car. The small factor on this 1 liter engine is unbelievable. And my friend Gio completely agrees. Okay, so I just finished with the first spark plug. I noticed it's got quite a bit of oil on it from the valve cover leak that I fixed the other week. So we're going to go ahead and get that cleaned off to make sure that doesn't get back into the cylinder head. Because what looks wet here, when I took the plug out, some oil might have fallen into the engine. And that could create some misfire when it first starts up. So just want to have that cleaned off as possible, and just gently finger it into place, because you got to get the threads right, and tighten to maybe 16 foot-pounds. I'm not sure the spec on that. Like I do, the spark plug act is supposed to be 50 thousandths of an inch. I'm rednecking that because I've been to many a place and no one will send me a spark plug gapper. I guess they think spark plugs come gapped. I know for a fact even German-made spark plugs are not always gapped from the factory as they're supposed to be. Maybe they only sell feeler gauges. Maybe that's what you need to be after, huh? Alright, but you don't need to watch these, but I want to show you my red technique. It's funny. I'll get back to it after I torque this in and show you what's going on with the next one. Okay, let's take a look here. We have 2001 Hyundai Atos with these lovely spark plugs, kind of worn out. Unfortunately, in Germany, I can't find anyone to sell me a spark plug gapper. So I'm going to use the screwdriver to get them all the same. Basically, at the tip of it, I know it's got to be too wide because it's worn out, right? So I'm going to get them all to where it's the same size as the very tippy tip of the screwdriver. And that will make them all consistent in the same depth. Alright, so this just barely can't go in. If I do that the same on all of them, it'll be a lot closer. Now, I've done 40 spark plugs that need 44 thousandths of an inch so much that I can tell that's pretty close to that. And this is supposed to be about 50 thousandths of an inch. I realize eyes can only be so accurate. This is the best I can do with the tools I have at the moment. I just am tired of this having a cold, slight misfire according to the computer, and I suspect it's old plugs, but the Germans haven't approved my the oil leaks I fixed yet. Just haven't had time, and I don't want to spend any money on it until it passes their inspections. Okay, I want you to be very careful. If the spark plug doesn't want to come out, support the wrench on one side and move it on the other. Be very careful. Might as well get this out of the way. The reason why you want to be very careful is because when it's rusted in like that, there's a risk that it's going to be breaking off instead of coming off. Now, I've probably broken about one spark plug in my career because I'm very careful. That's a very long career, much longer than the professional side. I never broke it before I became a pro. I had to do a lot of them, and I'm pretty sure the one that did break, it's because that was ready to break anyway, because I follow these rules. Okay, so now we have a wire that doesn't want to come off, so you want to work it gentle back and forth, especially if you don't have new wires, especially because I'm doing more of a diagnostic, checking these spark plugs, making sure not wires going on. If you want to do a twist back and forth, until they just kind of release. Well, this is less than ideal. That should be just the end of his spark plug, but instead, I'm looking at the piece of metal that's supposed to be inside of here. Oh, I worked it loose alright. That's okay, I have a workaround that. Look at that. 19. And away we go. Instead of this going direct on, it's another socket going over the socket. See? It's designed for that. So all these spark plugs look the same. They're all running lean. And check out my redneck way to check it. Sorry you're in the wind. But wow, that's way wider than the others. Just goes inside, just barely. And then when you put it back into place, when that tip broke off, it'll be just fine. As long as everything touches and the power will still get in there, but of course replace it unless you got a cheap customer. That's okay, I have a workaround that. Look at that. 19. And away we go. Instead of this going direct on, it's another socket going over the socket. See? It's designed for that. Okay. A young mechanic might freak out when he says something like this. But I'm not a young mechanic anymore. There's goobers all over. Okay, so there's goobers. Moving on with life. This one's actually brown. So how brown this one is, and I know on the camera it looks white, but trust me, in reality it's brown. With this brown, the other one's whites. That tells me my injector pattern is not even. And I've already been running injector cleaner through, and yeah, I figured this car would probably need injectors. Makes sense. But at least with all the gaps being the same, it's not going to create a miss. Even if it's not exactly spec, it's probably pretty dang close. So my redneck check needs to be a little less, so I'm going to just take it off screen where I'm going to crush it slightly, gently, just a little, and to recheck, it barely goes in, and now they're all the same. We found that this was the last cylinder on the left. Let's call that cylinder 1, I don't really know. So we're going to say that most likely cylinder 2 was gapped wide for whatever reason. Doesn't matter why, it just was. And with that going on, I'm not surprised. And it probably is cylinder 2 or 3, because cylinder 1, 2, and 3 like to be the ones to misfire. Of course, that's going in too easy. All the other ones made this tool look really smooth. Right now, it's not going to be. That's funny how that works. Huh? All right, I'm going to get off the camera and get 2 hands on it. Okay, so as always, every job I've done on this car yet, I have to take this off. In order to get to anything, you have to take this off to get to the oil filter. You have to take this off to get to spark plugs. I had to take it off to get to the valve cover gasket. I'm sure someday I'm going to work on this car and not take this off, but that day is not today. If you're using a drill rather than a true mechanics tool, be sure to tighten it on by hand. It doesn't need much, just a little bit, and you'll be good to go. Okay, let's see how she sounds starting up. Oh, I gotta have the keys out of my pocket. As always, it starts really good. Let's not worry about the radio. Sounds good, but the real test is in the morning when the engine's totally cold. The engine is still warm enough now that, of course, it wouldn't have any symptoms where it thinks it has a misfire. But so we'll test it tomorrow morning. Bye. Okay, this hill I always have to downshift. Let's see how the power is. Yeah. Just gave it a little bit of gas and up it went. So I think that that subtle little all that spark plugs, a lot of spark plugs being a little bit wide, one being really wide, that made a really big difference. Let's try that hill one more time just to be sure. I'm telling you, this car is so much fun. Now that I'm getting it smoothed out and fixed up. Okay, here we go. Go down that hill real quick. It's supposed to be about 30 kilometers an hour. Okay, here we go. Let's get to this next spot and I can turn around there. Oh wow, this engine is so much smoother. Couldn't tell if it had real engine case spark plugs or the fake ones. Yes, those Amazon good deals on spark plugs are fake spark plugs. You get 4 of them for 24 bucks, that means they're fake. Alright, so I usually like to go down a gear here. I'm going to stick it. Yeah, that's way more power. I mean, it doesn't like it, but it doesn't. But driving around late at night, repeating the same road over and over again, that could look weird to do police. So we might want to stop doing that. So the last test I'm going to try it because it just doesn't sound great because the gears are kind of whiny and stuff on this old car. It's got over 220,000 kilometers. I'm going to do that hill one more time and leave it in second gear, or put it back down to second gear like I normally do, so it feels better going up it, and see if what I normally do, how's that feel? That feels better too. Pickup. That feels better too. Alright, this is the win.